Alright, so in today's lesson, we just want to talk about the integumentary system. Okay, so before I even talk about like everything in this lesson, let us first understand where the word integumentary came from. So the word integumentary came from a Latin word integumentum, which simply means covering. So integumentum, it is where the word came from, the integumentary. So integumentum. So this is a Latin word which means a covering. So no wonder integumentary system is comprised of all the coverings of the body. We're talking about the skin, we're talking about the hair, we're also talking about the what? The nails that we have. So integumentum is a Latin word which means covering. Okay, that is where the integumentary came from. Now let us also talk about the skin, because this is the first covering that we're going to be talking about in this video. The skin, we're going to talk about the glands, we also now talk about the diseases associated with the skin. Okay, so integumentary simply means covering. So meaning in this lesson of integumentary system, we'll be talking about the what? The coverings of our body in organs. Okay, so now let us talk about the skin itself, the first covering that we're going to talk about. So the skin, it has got two layers. The first layer, we call it the epidermis. So the word epi means above. So epi, and then the dermis part. So the dermis part simply means the skin. So epidermis, the skin which is above. So the dermis, it came from a Greek word, derma. So in Greek, the derma simply means skin. So that is where the dermis came from. The word dermis came from derma, which is a Greek word which means the skin. So whenever I'm talking about the epidermis, just know that I'm talking about the skin which is above. So this is the first layer that we have. The skin, as said, it has got two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. So the second one is the dermis. Okay, so this is the skin which is found where? Beneath this one. So this one, the epidermis, it sits on top of the dermis. Then the dermis, it is now the one which holds this one in place. Then this one, the dermis, there's also another layer which we call hypodermis. But because it is not really like part of the skin, no wonder we don't call it, or maybe we don't like also include it among the what? These layers of the skin. No wonder we say we only have two layers, the epidermis and the dermis. Why? Because it only acts as an anchor. It also just acts as an anchor to this. But the dermis, it is now the part which feeds the epidermis, because the epidermis, it is avascular. The word avascular simply means it doesn't have veins, doesn't have the capillaries, this one. But how now does this cell survive? All thanks goes to the what? To the dermis. Because it is because of the dermis that this guy is also surviving. The dermis has got capillaries, has got veins. Okay. So now let us now talk about the skin itself. So I'll start with the epidermis, then we go to the dermis, then now we'll talk about the diseases which this same skin is affected with. Okay, so let us talk about this part. So the region that we're able to see here, this is the epidermis. So the epidermis itself has got 5 layers. The skin has got 2 layers. So maybe let me just put it here. So the skin has got epidermis, and the dermis. Okay, but inside the epidermis, you are going to find 5 more layers again. So meaning in the epidermis, you'll find 5 layers. There are 5. So these are just 2. This is of what? Of a skin. The skin has got 2 layers. But inside the epidermis, there are 5. And inside the dermis, you're going to find 2 layers again. The dermis has got 2 layers. In short, the skin has got epidermis and dermis as the main layer. But what makes those layers, what makes the epidermis, it is the same 5 layers that I was talking about, which are here. Now, what makes the dermis, it is those 2 layers. that I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so now to start with, I'll start with the epidermis, which has got 5 layers. We talk about them, we also talk about the cells which are found there, we also talk about how they are related now to also here the diseases, how the diseases come about if this part is affected. So here, pay particular attention so that all the diseases that I'll be talking about here, you're going to be understanding them and following. Okay, so this number 1 layer here. So in anatomy, layer, the word layer can be replaced. Not even can be replaced. We replace the word layer with stratum. Okay, so we say stratum to mean layer. So this is a common way, but in anatomy we say stratum. Okay, so these are the like basics that we're also supposed to take note. And the first stratum here, meaning the first layer, the first stratum here of the epidermis, let me just count them. You see that there are 5. This is stratum 1. Then this one from here to here, this is 2. There to there, this is 3. Then there to there, which is like just empty, it is clear. This is also number 4. Then the last part, this one is number 5. So let us talk about the number 1. This number 1 layer. So the stratum, this first stratum, we call it stratum bacilli. Stratum bacilli. So stratum bacilli, just from the word basement membrane, base, it is at the base of the what? Epidermis. It is the one which is sitting on the what? On the dermis. So what you can see here, or maybe what you can see on your hand, what you can see on your face, that is the epidermis, the skin is above that you can see. The first layer of that skin, you can't see the stratum bacilli because it is found where? Inside. So this is found beneath, just near the what? The dermis. And then maybe what you can see, it is this layer, the top layer, but you can't see the stratum bacilli. So the stratum bacilli, it is now the one which is found where? Just beneath. It has got some different cells here, very important cells. The other name for stratum bacilli, it is geminiform. So geminiform, just from the word germinate, this is where a lot of cells will be germinating from. So the cells that the epidermis has germinate from this same stratum bacilli, or geminiform stratum, or stratum geminiform. Okay, so this is the other name, geminiform, to mean germinating. The cells are germinating. So the cells are germinating from here. Okay, so now what are those cells? We've got a lot of them. But the very important cell, or maybe the common cell that you are going to find in all these layers, it is keratinocyte. So the keratinocyte, it is a cell, keratinocyte. So in anatomy, if you see cyte, this word cyte means a cell. So keratin, it is a protein-like structure which is produced by the keratinocyte, the cell. So many keratinocytes, they are found where? Here in the stratum bacilli. And they are also found here, they are also found there. Yeah, in all the stratums. So the keratinocyte, this one, it will be producing what? Keratin. It is the one, like the proteins that are going to be produced by these cells. They are the ones that help to have this, like the rough like structure that we have, the barrier that it gives. Okay? Because of the keratinocyte. Oh, thanks to this. No wonder if you go and bath, you don't see water going inside, but you see water like they're just like slipping off. Yeah. So because of the what? Keratinocyte. They have proteins in them. Okay. So maybe let me just talk about the same proteins that are found there, so that as I'm talking about everything like the stratum that are remaining here, we'll be just talking about like cruising. Okay. The keratinocyte has got what we call kerato. So the keratoirin. So this keratoirin, so this is a protein. But it is a protein, it is more like a stem protein. It also produces like more proteins. Are you seeing the connection? The keratinocyte is producing this. This keratohyaline, it is not found here. But keratohyaline, so here, the cells keratinocyte, they are just being produced. But keratohyaline will be produced where? Here, in this layer, layer number 3. But I just want to talk about them, like all the proteins that are being produced by the keratinocyte. Okay, so keratohyaline, this is a protein which also produces, or maybe it has got proteins which we call profilagrin. Okay, profilagrin. So that is a protein. Now, when this protein splits, like in this same cell, in this same stratum, when it splits, it will produce, just from the word pro, it means it is inactive. Just the moment it is formed, it is profilagrin. But when it is in active form, we remove pro and just let it be, because it is now an active protein. So this filagrin, it is a protein that now burns. So this one, if you see, so keratinocytes, they have got what we call tonofilaments. So those filaments, they are small, small filaments, like thread-like structure inside the keratinocyte. So those same thread-like structure, when they are just alone like this, like imagine that these are keratinofilaments. So if these are keratinofilaments, as you can see that they are apart. But if this is a cell, it means these guys, they are weak. But the moment this guy will be produced the filagrin, what it will do is it will make sure that these guys, they are close to each other and they are tied together. They are tied like this so that they are strong. Have you seen what is happening here? They're the ones which are making like this skin to have this barrier because of the same protein. All thanks goes to the keratinocyte where they are being produced. Okay, so you can see that there's a tough thing here because of the what? Flattening. Okay, so now those guys are found or are produced by keratinocyte, which is a cell which is found here in the stratum bacilli. So even in the stratum bacilli, we're also going to find another cell which we call melanocyte. Melanocyte, which will produce the pigment, or it is the pigment itself, the melanin. So melanocyte is a cell which will produce melanin. So melanin, it is a pigment that will give you the color that you have, the same melanin. Actually, in almost, not even in almost, in all the human beings, we have almost close or the same number of melanocytes. Even those guys who have albinism, even those guys who are white people, and us who are black people, we have the same number of melanocytes. But the color will depend on the number of melanin or the quantity of melanin that will be produced by these same melanocytes. Okay, so meaning that number is the one which will predict your color, which will determine your color. If you're going to be black, if you're going to be an albinism, if you're going to be a white person, yeah, because of the what? Because of the same melanin that will be produced, the quantity of the melanin. So melanocytes are also found here. Okay, then another cell that is found in this area is what we call Meckel's. So Meckel's cell or Meckel's cells. Okay, maybe you are wondering, how come that Meckel's cell sounds as if you are talking about someone's name? Yes, we're talking about someone's name. So Meckel's, Meckel was a guy, was a scientist. So this is our son, all thanks to him. So this was Frederick Meckel. It was a German scientist. He was a German scientist. So Meckel cells, what they do, these cells is, when I'm doing this, I'm able to feel that this guy is giving me pressure, as you can see. Here, as you can see like this. And when I'm able to touch here, I'm able to get the texture of this coat. So the coat I'm wearing, if I do like this, I'm able to get what? Its texture. Because of what? Meckel's cells. No wonder These guys, they're also called mechano cells. So mechano receptor cells. So mechano receptor cells. These cells are responsible to give you the pressure, to give you that sensitivity of the texture. Yeah, they're the same cells which are responsible for that. All thanks to the what? To this guy, the scientist, Michaels. Okay, now I think we are done to talk about like the cells which are found in the stratum bacilli. Let us now talk about the second stratum. So the second stratum is from this area that you are able to see here. So this area up to this area. So this distance here. Now compare this distance to that one. You notice that this one, the 2 is big as compared to this one. So the reason why it is big is because of these cells. These cells, all thanks to these cells, the Langerhans as well. So these cells, what they do is they move around this stratum. The number 2 stratum. They are going to be moving around to see if there are pathogens, and if they find a pathogen that they are there, they are going to get the same pathogen and transfer it to what? To the T cells. Okay, so that is what will happen. So these are Langerhans. So Langerhans cells, they are found in the what? In the stratum number 2. Now, what do we call that stratum number 2? Okay, so the reason of naming this stratum, or maybe the name of this stratum, will come from the reasoning of these. As you can see, the cells which are here and which are here, they are different. The cells which are here at stratum bacilli, they were star-shaped. They were star-shaped. They were like this, then that. Okay, let me just show what you see and understand how these cells look like. The ones which are in stratum bacilli, and you are going to differentiate them from these cells which are found in the what? In the second stratum. Okay, you are also going now to understand why it is called by that name. So this is okay, like that, like that, like that. So as you can see, this body here, so this is the body of what? Of a cell. And then these protrudings, they are the ones now which transfer what will be produced in these same cells. So imagine that this is the nucleus of a cell. So this is the cell that I've drawn here. This is a cell. So this cell, it is this cell here that you're able to see in this stratum bacilli. What happens is these cells, they are melanocytes. They produce melanin. The moment they produce melanin, this melanin will be moving through these, going where? To the keratinocytes in this other stratum. But even here, keratinocytes, they are there. What are they doing? They're just being produced and they move. Okay, so meaning keratinocyte, they'll be moving upward. Here you're going to be finding the living cells, and up here you're going to be finding the dead cells. They're dead. Okay, so on top of your skin, we have got dead cells. They happen because of the process we call, actually it is normal to have the dead cells, so don't be shocked that you have got dead cells. Because of conification, that process of like a planned death of what? Keratin. So keratinocyte will be planning itself to what? Die. We call that conification. So conification. Conification, this is the process where keratinocytes, they prepare themselves to what? To die. To come here at stratum number 5. Okay. So this is what happens. So what will be passing here are what we call melanosomes. So melanosomes are vesicles-like structure. So these guys will be carrying melanin inside, and they'll be transporting them to what? To these same cells which are looking as if maybe they are weird, they are pointing, they are pointed, they are having spines, what? Yeah. So because of the same structure of these cells, that is where the name of this stratum came from. This stratum is stratum spinosum. Okay. The stratum spinosum came from the structure of the appearance of what? Of these cells. These cells are looking as if they are pointed thing like that, but it is a cell. It is having those like that, and it has got what? A nucleus like that. But here, cells are planning to do what? To start now dying. The moment the cells being produced here, the moment they are produced, here they'll start thinking of dying. This is what is happening. Here they are in preparatory stage of doing what? Of dying, so that they find themselves where in the stratum number 5. So these guys, they are having this thing protruding here, more like spines. No wonder we call this layer stratum spinosum. So this is stratum spinosum. Okay. So don't forget the cells which are found there, the cells which are found here, there. So that when I start talking about the diseases associated to this same skin we're talking about, you won't be getting confused. You'll be just relating that, oh, because of that. Yeah. So stratum spinosum, it is this second layer. Why spinosum? From the way it's spin. Why spin? The cells themselves, they're looking as if they're spins. I see, like they are sharp things. Those two sharp things. Because of what? Desmosomes. So it is these desmosomes which give the structure of these cells looking as if they have spins, or maybe they have sharp pointed thing. Okay. So I've said these are Langerhans, then these are cells that are found in the spinosum. Okay. So now let us move to this third strata. So in the third stratum again you can see some changes. We have those thing inside the cells looking as if they are granules. Oh God. So those thing that we're able to see there in the stratum number 3, we call them granules. In the same granules, okay, we are going to find what we call, maybe before I even talk about what we find inside the granules, let me talk about the name of the stratum. I've said these are small granules. Those granules, what they do is, they are the ones which will give the name of this stratum. The stratum is called, so number 3, we're going to call it stratum granulosum. Stratum granulosum. So because it's having some granules. So now, inside these granules, what you are going to find is what? That keratin that was being produced here. So here, the keratinocyte was being produced, but here what will happen is, after keratinocyte has been moved or traveled or passed to these other cells, they will again pass to the next stratum, which is stratum granulosum. So in stratum granulosum, what you are going to find is those granules. So inside the granules, you're going now to find what we call keratohalin. So keratohalin, it is a protein that is found where in the same granules. So these proteins are the ones that give us this rough like barrier protective thing on our skins, because of keratohalins, because of the proteins which are found inside the same protein. So in this keratohalin, if this guy keratohalin is a protein, it is also now going to produce like more proteins. What are those? To produce pro. So the protein I want to produce here, it is pro. Okay, let me just write it here. It is pro. Pro meaning it is before. So meaning this pro that will be produced, it is inactive protein. So it is proflagyrin. So proflagyrin, it is a protein if it is in active form. So if this guy is split, it will be in active form, which will be a flagellin, meaning we are just removing the pro, because pro means inactive. But if we remove the pro and we just leave the flagellin, meaning this now has become an active protein. So what this active protein will do is, it is now the one that gives. So let me just demonstrate here what the flagellin does. So inside. Okay, so let us now talk about the fourth layer. So the fourth layer, this one, since we talked about this one, the third layer, so the stratum number 3, I said that That stratum number 3, it is having the what? The granule. The granules. So these granules inside them, I was saying that we have the kerato. So keratohyalins. So that is what? That is what is contained inside the what? The granules which are found there. But now let us talk about that one. The one which is just clear. Why is it clear? The stratum number 3. Okay. So stratum number 3, it is called stratum lucidum. So stratum lucidum. Okay. So stratum lucidum, the reason why it is clear like that, it is not having anything, but it is having cells, but the same cells, they are like having something which is clear, like the protein which are clear. No wonder I didn't even like label here, because it is like clear. It has got protein which are clear. So stratum lucidum, this one, uh, the protein which is making it like to be clear, we call it iridan. 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 Okay, so the iridan, it is a protein which is making them to look like that, like clear like that. So this iridan, it is a keratin, but keratin was just transformed to what? To iridan. In short, keratin became iridan. I said keratin will be moving from here until it finds itself where? There. So keratinocyte here was being produced. After being produced, the keratin itself started now moving from here, going there, going up. Here it was being made as what? Keratohyalin. Then here now it is changing to what? Iridan, a clear protein. So now that iridan, it is not found in all the skin types. Like for example, here you can't see iridan. Here it is not found here, but in what? Only in thick skin. Like here, yes, you can find what? Iridan. So this stratum number 4, it is only found in thick skin where there are no hair. There's no hair, like your hands, your foot. Yeah, you don't have what? Hair there. That is where this clear protein is found. Okay, so now the last thing here which we can see, it is the what? The stratum number 4. So that's stratum number 5. So the last stratum, we call it stratum cornea. So stratum cornea. So the stratum cornea, this one, cornea. Okay, so it is hard. It is very hard. It is now the one which is giving you that protective, that rough protective texture of your skin. Yeah, the barrier, like it is giving the barrier on your skin, like from invaders, like pathogens, like germs. Yeah, so this is the same cornea. Sometimes it is even referred to as what? Horny, or maybe they say it is having horny cells, or it is stratum horny. Okay, because of what? Because of its toughness. This one is very tough. It is now the one which is giving you that barrier, like this protective layer that you are able to see here. Okay, so stratum cornea, the black thing that we're able to see there, they are different from these black things which are here. So here, these are granules, but here, that is keratin. So the keratin protein which is being produced here by the keratinocyte, the keratin production was being done here, and the keratin was now moving here. After keratin moving here, it was now moved here as what? Keratohyalin. Now that keratohyalin here again, it changed to what? Iridan. Iridan again changed to what? Keratin. So the tough thing, the tough layer there, these cells, they are now being pumped inside their cytoplasm with what? Keratin. That keratin, it is now the one which is giving us what? This barrier, this rough protective barrier. Okay, because of what? Keratin. So in short, these guys, they are not having, they are dead in short. They are not having nucleus. So the whole of their cytoplasm is containing keratin protein.